If you hit the then it's free to race in. Take on 6 races of wheel-to-wheel action. If you're ready to hit the track in the iRacing Ford FR500S Mustang, then sign up for the Barber Ford Mustang Club today. With great prizes from our awesome sponsors, this league is fast, fun, and best of all, free to race in. Take on 6 races of wheel-to-wheel action, all broadcasted live on Pit Stop TV. As a member, you receive a $500 voucher to Barber Ford, plus entry into a raffle for a brand new Fanatec H-Pattern shifter. Point you earn on the track is 1 entry into the raffle, meaning you can race your way into a brand new Fanatec shifter drawn on December 15th. Battle your competitors at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Road Atlanta, Barber Motorsports Park, Brands Hatch, and for the finale, Lime Rock Park. Join the Barber Ford Mustang Club at League ID 3350.
Sitting just feet from the Virginia-North Carolina border in a small town named Alton, Virginia, and only having been reopened days after I was born in early 2000, VIR embodies everything it means to be a classic American road racing circuit. Elevation change and track that follows the land highlight all 17 turns at VIR and every layout in between. Production Car Challenge comes to virtual VIR tonight for round 6, marking the season's halfway point here in 2023, season number 4. We're working later and later into the year. It is now October 16th. Halloween is in just a couple of weeks. Thanksgiving shortly thereafter, and once we get through that Thanksgiving area of November, it's right to week 12 to crown a champion. Time is running out for these guys. I know there's still 7 weeks to go as we open up week number 6 this evening, but still, time is running thin for these drivers as we get into the iRacing.com sim this evening. VIR, there we go, has recently undergone some significant updates on iRacing and in real life, I suppose, but more recently on the iRacing.com sim, and now matches, at least better matches, that of its real-life counterpart. There's so much that has changed at VIR. Of course, the most significant, I think, would have to be the pavement, closely followed by Oak Tree. And I'm not even sure that you can put Oak Tree in second place, but of course, no longer in the iRacing.com sim or in real life is Oak Tree on the circuit, and of course, dearly missed. But hey, we're glad to be here this evening at the virtual VIR, ready to go racing for what is going to be one amazing 25-minute race. And it is rather short, only 25 minutes of racing around this long circuit. Taking a look at the track map now, and there's a lot to take in. I mean, there's the different layouts in between, right around the Patriot course, and you can make up the Grand course or the North course, South course, whatever course you want to run. There is the South Paddock. Of course, we're using the North Paddock for this full layout. There is the back straightaway chicane. I mean, there's just a lot to talk about here at VIR. So we're going to do our best. And it is going to be, again, an interesting 25 minutes because there's not much time to get things done at a place like this. You're only going to get probably 8 or 10 laps, somewhere in there. Even then, it actually might be a little bit shorter, probably about 10 laps actually for racing this evening. So not a whole lot of opportunities at each of these corners. I think more significantly, you're only going to see each of these corners a few times in battle scenarios in order to do anything with it. Let's take a look at point standings before we get to qualifying and such. Coming in this evening, Benjamin Roberts still top of the board in points. It looks like he is not in this race. Very importantly, not in this race. So we're missing a lot of our top guys in this top split. I do see guys like Andrew Perkins, Jeff Bernard. I mean, everything that indicates this is still top split, but we do not see our top Mustang guys here this evening, which is very curious. None of the top 5 in points are in this race, and interestingly, down in Clio competition, we don't have a single Clio that registered for this 9:30 p.m. Eastern slot. I'm not sure what to do with that information, but we move on down to GR86 and Mazda points. And Jorge also is not in this race from what I can tell. Jorge Dominic not in here. Nicholas Sudik, I don't see him either. So really an interesting mix of drivers we got. But we do have Nick's teammate, Andrew Perkins, as I mentioned, so that tells me we are in the right split at least. I mean, this is a really bizarre situation as we open up here at VIR. A quick look at the season schedule. Of course, week number 6, as I've mentioned this evening, October 16th. Next week, it's back out to Silverstone, but on the national layout, that shorter triangular shaped with a couple of extra bends layout that is oh so much fun, and I think the shortest of the season. Getting close to Willow Springs territory, or Oran Park territory, even Summit Point. I mean, I think Silverstone National comes in at just over a mile, so it's definitely a short track. Alongside Willow Springs, Nürburgring for round 9, then Summit Point, Imola, and Oran Park to complete the season here for 2023, season number 4, and complete the calendar year. Well, I guess the iRacing year, if you will, as well. A quick look at weather conditions as we get ready to go down your starting grid of 31 cars. There you go, 74.1 degrees in the air, partly cloudy, track temp of 88 degrees Fahrenheit. It is just a good day to go racing in virtual Virginia. Now, as usual, our kind of caveat with the grid that's about to be on your screen. This is by overall qualifying time. I'll let these simply go by on the bottom of your screen, but David Moore and Dale Hemley, your top qualifiers this evening, ready to go racing from the virtual VIR, and it looks like we're going to get that full pace lap as these drivers are gridded up in the pit lane. You see Chris Sherburne, Matthew Zizzi. We do have a second row of a couple of guys that I know. You saw him just a moment ago, Tyler Langenberg and Timothy George. They are teammates, and it'll be interesting to see how they attack this race. They don't usually run Production Car Challenge. I was able to convince them to come and run this race, and I am quite glad that they're doing so. And boy, we only have a few Mustangs at all in this race. I don't know if the Mustang guys just aren't really feeling VIR tonight or what's going on. I am really confused. I'm sure I selected the top session. This should definitely still be top split, but this is a really oddball field. Really, really interesting, but you see the rest of the field scrolling by on the bottom of your screen. We are in for a very, very interesting race. That much I can tell you for sure, as everybody rolls underneath the flag stand. Interesting flag stand here at VIR. It kind of hangs out over the racetrack, over pit lane. Definitely have to go looking for that flag stand as the back end of the field rolls off underneath. One driver already starting from the pit lane, and that is a Miata in the pits. Is that... let's see. Could that be Jacob Durrett? Well, Jacob Durrett is one of the drivers starting from the pit lane. Another one, Ivan Belmar Alvarado. So a couple of Miatas, and it looks like Jeff Bernard will also start from the pits. We saw him on Friday evening last week with the Barber Ford Mustang Club, and a shout out to Barber Ford. They're the reason we're here this season, taking a look at these Production Car Challenge races. Without them, these broadcasts would not be happening. So if you wouldn't mind taking a look on their social media pages, again, that is Barber Ford. Their logo is top right of the screen currently, and also go ahead and take a look at their website, www.barberford.net. And, you know, realistically, we realize that a lot of guys are not going to go all the way to Michigan to go buy a Ford from Barber Ford. However, if you know anybody up that way, or if it ever becomes a scenario you would much rather know where to go than be left in the dark. So again, www.barberford.net, and just support those who support the series you love. In this case, of course, Production Card Challenge. Give them a like, follow on whatever platforms you like, Facebook, the whole bunch of them, and keep them in mind should you ever need a brand new or used Ford. This is not top split. You know, this is interesting because you know what happened. I bet I know what happened. iRacing probably, and I can switch sessions quickly, iRacing probably had not posted, when I refreshed the page, had not posted that other split. I was going to say, this is not the field I was expecting, but when I was on the webpage, there were 3 splits listed, and I know I clicked the top one of those 3. I'm not saying it was the top one of all of them at that time, or I guess at that time I'm sure it was. I'm not saying it's the top one of all of them, and if I go back to the webpage, looking now, yeah, sure enough, there's a 4th split that had not yet populated on the webpage, and that's where we see guys for the points. So, if you bear with me for just a moment, we can actually switch into that session. Now, I might have to throw a quick break, we might miss the start of the race, but we will get into that session because of the points implications. I see Scotty Banks, everybody chiming in over on YouTube. Andrew Perkins ended up making the 2nd split. Yeah, really interesting. I'm not sure how that ended up happening, other than iRacing doing iRacing things. So, bear with me. We'll actually come back to the point standings. I'll verbally go through these because this will get a lot more interesting once we get those drivers like Scotty Banks and such in that race. Scott Banks is down already over 100 points from Benjamin Roberts. So as they get ready to take the green flag live, definitely we're watching Scott Banks to see if he can actually make a big comeback here. Even Keith Nelson. Keith Nelson has moved into the 2nd spot, but is that almost 100 points back from Benjamin Roberts. And Kevin Parrish, a community rep from Production Card Challenge, who I very much would not have expected to be in 4th at this point in the championship, is 4th at this point in the championship, nearly 200 points out of contention. So anyhow, now that Split 2 got a little bit of time, props to you guys. I'm not sure how iRacing managed to get that one past me. Split 2, you guys are awesome. We are going to load in to split number 1. And you know what? It's PCC things. That's what I've learned at this point. You just take it and run with it, because it's better off not to question things like that. I do want to mention, while we wait to get into the sim for this top split, we have a couple of really cool broadcasts coming up the rest of the week. Tomorrow night we head out to USA International Speedway for the Lucky Motorsport Solutions Street Stocks, out to that 3/4 mile in Lakeland, Florida. Should be a lot of fun. And then Wednesday evening, we have the Busy Bee 150, brought to you by one of our partners at the channel, CC's Business, at Charlotte for the UFL Elite Series in their NASCAR-style playoffs. Now, we are loading into the top split, the correct top split. I'm not sure how that all happened, aside from iRacing not displaying the top split. Hey, it happens. I guess I should have F5'd just one more time. I'm sure somebody can relate out there. If not, all of you can relate to having to hit F5 just one more time, whether it's buying concert tickets or what have you. I'm trying to stall, trying to get to the start, at least, of the race, and we are loading in. The green flag is just dropped. Let timing and scoring load, and we have got cars on the racetrack. That means, hey, I can go ahead and turn the music down and focus on race cars. Kevin Parrish out front, sure enough, right where we would expect him to be. This makes a lot more sense. Parrish leading down through the back end of the circuit here on lap number 1, it looks like. They come around Hogpen, and it's like we didn't miss a thing. How about that for live TV technology? There are 6, count them, 6 Clios in the field. Lap 1 complete, this time by, look at them all come by the start-finish line. So while paints load, I promise you that is Kevin Parrish leading. Fabian Zweyer is in the second spot, and we can go ahead and bring the ticker up now. David Fernandez, David Fench, 3rd and 4th. Cam Porter sits back in the 5th spot, and Scotty Banks has made the transition properly over to GR86 competition. And we saw this last week at Spa. It was unexpected, but we now see that clearly Scott Banks is doing this for the rest of the season. Well, at least this part of the season, maybe not the rest of the season, but certainly this portion of 2023 season number 4. Now, a couple of Clios are still out front of the Toyotas. You see one of them, Jeremy Carpenter, racing with the Toyotas, and Carpenter is just in the way of Scott Banks, who runs 4th currently in Toyota competition. And this is the most even split of cars we've had all season long. We actually have to page through the Renault Clios for the first time all season long. Up front, we do have a decent battle for the race lead in those Clios. Larry Love, Austin Knight, as they come up through the upper S's and turn number 10 and head down towards Oak Tree. Up top of the overall field, Kevin Parrish, Fabian Zweyer still having their fun, drafting down the back stretch. Not a whole lot really happening. I feel like the Mustangs are going to have the longest game, if you will, of each of the 4 classes. Miatas, they battle all race long. Even the Toyotas battle all race long, and the Clios are going to have their fun until the tires go away. And here comes Austin Knight actually making a draft here on Larry Love. And a pass is made into Roller Coaster, a really aptly named corner here at VIR. Really do love Roller Coaster. Turn 14, that whole complex, as there's a lead change in Toyotas. Richard Dempsey goes on through to the top spot over Nicholas Sudik. And this, again, is your point leader in Toyota competition. Nicholas Sudik, car number 5, as we usually see him, interestingly enough. 5th highest I rating, as Kevin Parrish goes quickest that lap. That was lap number 2. So tires coming up to temp, and I will eat my words from earlier. I said I thought this would be a 10 lap or so race. It looks like it'll be 13 laps as the field comes around the start finish line and back around to begin a new lap of racing. Scott Banks in a heated battle, it looks like, with one car in his back end. That's David McConnell in the number 15 car, and McConnell has to get back in line. Although they did just go by Jeremy Carpenter finally in that number 30 Renault. I'm not sure what happened to Jeremy, but he does hop up out of the way as new cars come into turn number 1. How about our Miata field for the first time this evening? Mazda's headed to turn 1. Jordan Rick-Segrini leading the way in that number 13. They all tighten up into turn number 1. That was close. And contact with Bailey Steven. Rick-Segrini opens up the inside. And here comes Gabriel Anselmi. That's a new name for me. Haven't seen that one before. and Selmy running that number 23 car. And right on the back end of Jordan Rixagrini. Rixagrini is a guy that I've seen in multiple leagues, actually, in my time over at Sim TV. A really cool channel that I don't think they're broadcasting tonight, but they are broadcasting tomorrow night. They'll have Spec Miata Racing going to, I don't know what track, actually. But go ahead and check out SYM TV. They're a lot of fun. Hopefully just you check us out while we're live, then go back and watch their VODs, because they do a really good job. But Rick agrees in a lot of leagues over there, particularly Spec Miata Racing on Tuesday nights with Greg Kramer on the broadcast. And I know this name, Rick Sagrini. It very much comes alive in my memory. I know he's good in a Miata. It's going to be interesting to see how he manages the rest of this second race of week number 6, as up front our Mustang leaders are right back at it. Suddenly, Fabian Zweyer getting a little bit closer here to Kevin Parrish. If we ride on board with Fabian, we'll see kind of where these guys are shifting, downshifting. I always like pulling up this telemetry graphic, seeing exactly how they're riding through the gears, keeping it in third there through NASCAR Bend. Actually, I think that might have been left hook. Trying to count now. Anyways. And, that was a slow entry into the lower S. I think that was turn 5 by number. Nobody really calls it their turn numbers when they come here in real life. Anyways, Fabian chasing Kevin Parrish up the hill now towards the upper S's. Really cool piece of racetrack. You got to get it just right. And if you miss it by even an inch into turn number 10 up here, you're going to have problems. Just behind these guys, David Fernandez leading a train of 4, and we've got something happening in the back here. Nicholas Rice-Sputo, another one of those drivers that'll be in that Spec Miata race tomorrow night. He falls into 5th in class, one car out wide. That's Ray Lombardi, one of the community reps over in the Miata community. What do you think about that one? Lombardi trying to hang on to that 3rd spot, brings Rice-Sputo along through. And hello, this is one of the better Miata drivers on the sim. Nicholas Rice-Sputo is going to absolutely give Lombardi a hard time here. Some speed into the upper S is going to take it too wide. That's risky. Oh, 2 guys that definitely know this car. Rice-Sputo hanging on the left side. Almost contact there with Lombardi. Rice-Sputo on the inside for turn 5. This is aggressive stuff. 17 minutes to go nearly, and Rice-Sputo is going to open the door now to Bailey Steven on the inside into Oak Tree. Covering it back up, and Steven blinks back in behind the number 2 car. Lead change out front. Fabian Zweyer getting by Kevin Parrish very suddenly, it looks like, into turn 1. So things are changing, if you will, as there's Fernandez, Fench, and Porter. 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Austin Knight, Larry Love, they continue to race side by side for your Clio lead. And these guys are actually having a good bit of fun down here. Larry Love back through to the lead, grabbing the handbrake a little bit, try to help that car turn. Clio Cup would probably be a lot of fun. Compared to the Mustangs, though, they're almost a little bit underwhelming. If you had a field of these guys, 40 strong, even 30 strong, ripping around a shorter track, making it look like they're going a little bit faster, I think this would be a really cool class. I haven't partaken yet in Clio Cup at all, but I'm sure it's a lot of fun. Rice-Sputo battling still with Bailey Steven. Look at this. Nearly 3 wide, headed down to turn number 1. Lombardi with the advantage. Steven there in 4th, and Rice-Sputo falls back into 5th as they run into some of the Renault Clio traffic. Rick Sagrini and Anselmi still leading in Miatas. Up front for, there we go. Up front for your Toyotas. Don't know where I was going there with the words. Richard Dempsey, Nicholas Sudik, Daniel Wareham, Scott Banks, Daniel McConnell, and Michael Weissman. It's interesting. I haven't seen Daniel Wareham's name until this evening, aside from the point standings. If I pull this graphic back up, you'll see what I mean. He really has, he's run a whole bunch of races, hasn't run this split yet that I'm aware of, this time slot, at least that I've seen, but this driver out of the UK and Ireland has really lit things up lately, within 100 points of Jorge Dominic, and, earlier I said Sudik was the points leader. He was the points leader last week at Spa. Give me a break there, I guess. He's 39 back of Jorge Dominic coming into this race. We'll see how that changes after this evening as Wareham really gets up close and personal to Sudik there into turn 14. This car's got a lot of grip. I think it's going to handle 25 minutes here pretty nicely. Bit of a slip up there from Sudik. Might that open the door? Scott Banks coming on the left side now of Daniel Wareham side by side for the third and fourth positions. Here we go, working down to turn number 1 once again. Wareham staying defensive, holding on to that position. Meanwhile, Austin Knight starting to drive away a little bit from Larry Love. This Toyota class, it's so hard to pull away from. They just get racing so closely and for so long. It is really hard to pull away from these guys. Of course, Barber Ford bringing us the broadcast, but the Toyotas just, they get so close. Now, weather conditions in this race, since it'll be a little bit different, 74.3 degrees, partly cloudy still, 89 degrees, track temp. So very close still to that second split we took a look at, oddly enough, through practice and qualifying. That's okay as our race leaders come around turn number 10. Lead change in the Mustangs. Parrish around the outside, trying to hang on through turn 14. He's going to have the inside line through 15. Brilliant move there from Kevin Parrish. My only concern, when we came back up to the Mustangs, I was going to mention I felt like Parrish was in a better spot. Able to draft and kind of save his stuff behind Fabian. Now, Kevin's out front, and Fabian's in that better position, I feel like, for the end of the race. The only thing that might change that, granted this is a big time draft track with the front stretch and back stretch, even the S's you can do a lot of drafting through. Fabian, if Kevin is truly fast right now and Fabian starts to fall off, maybe Kevin gets away, but that corner right there tells me the opposite. I think Fabian might be just a little bit quicker. Parrish is using his stuff up, and Kevin might have to really start to calm things down, particularly sliding the rear of the car. I mean, turn 1, I don't know if that was a downshift that prompted the rear end to come out, but Parrish definitely sliding the rear of the car just a little bit as these guys work up to our Miatas. And our Mazdas currently, the back end of that field runs into turn number 10 now, and Kevin Parrish just came into the lower S's. So give these guys a couple more laps, and we're going to have some proper lap traffic for our race leaders. Back down to Toyotas side by side for the race lead. Nicholas Sudik right side onto turn number 1 through turn number 2. They get packed up for NASCAR Bend. Scott Banks falls back in behind Wareham and lets these guys figure it out up front as somebody puffs some smoke in the Renaults, it looks like. I think that might have been Larry Love. They pulling the handbrake, that Larry Love. Nicholas Resputo, Jordan Rixagrini, they saw spots as Gabriel Anselmi has taken over in Mazdas. So Resputo falling back, Rixagrini really falling back and trying to defend now at turn number 1. Ray Lombardi now is going to have a chance at that Rixagrini machine once again. And Resputo has just come through the field oh so quickly. Wow, Rixagrini was really pressured there at turn number 4. Here comes the move. Ray Lombardi to the inside, can't make it stick. And falls back in behind. As we take a look at our Mustangs once again, they come around hog pen and restart, not restart, but start a new lap with just 10 minutes to go. I do want to give a big shout out to all of our Renault drivers here this evening. 6 of you guys showing up for VIR. This is a really cool racetrack to go racing in any car, especially a front-wheel drive machine, as this is now the battle for your Toyota race lead. But 6 of you brave men and women coming out, well, I think it's all men by names, but regardless, coming out to VIR for a really cool race. We've got Toyotas going at it up front, your top 3 under a blanket. Scott Banks sitting back in 4th spot. Nicholas Sudik turns in there in hog pen and simply clears himself out front of Richard Dempsey. Now Dempsey on his back foot defending over this line of onlookers. Here comes Daniel Wareham, 3rd in the point standings. Dempsey's got to try and defend. He will stay defensive down to turn number 1. Not a whole lot of option there as Wareham is fully alongside now into turn 1 and is going to try and outbrake the number 7. Can't quite do it. And no! Nicholas Sudik simply goes off the track and throws away 5 positions and the race lead. This is now your battle for the race lead. 2x2 once again through turns 3 and 4. And the 6 car gets clear. Daniel Wareham into the lead for the first time tonight down under Toyotas. Scott Banks an opportunity for second. He sits back and waits at least another corner. When does he make his move? We could not have asked for a better race from these Toyotas. Five strong in a line. Sudik even, not far back. Call it 6. We've got some racing down on our Mazdas as well. This is absolutely turning out to be maybe the best track we could have asked for. And Gabriel Anselmi gives up the race lead to Nicholas Rice-Puto, who goes on through and just might drive away. He has got something nobody else has got. Rick Segrini trying to hang on there as well. Those guys race each other a lot. I'm surprised that this is the first time we're seeing them in PCC action this season. Anselmi not wanting to give up just yet, though. He's bouncing around, trying to find some air. Get a look at these apexes. It's hard to see. In fact, we can take the onboard here. It is very hard to see the apexes sometime when you're that close to the car ahead. Now, of course, Anselmi backs up a little bit from Rice-Puto for Oak Tree. A little more area to see the apexes of the corners as Wareham and Dempsey get back after it in the Toyotas. Side by side they go through Roller Coaster, down to Hog Pen once more. Scotty Banks to the outside, try to find something there on Dempsey, couldn't find it, falls back in line. Mazdas down the backstretch to Roller Coaster once again. It's lap number 8 for them, so it'll be 5 to go this time by. By the way, I want to say, these Mustangs running at 202s, those are some pretty big lap times for cars like that. I took the NASCAR Gen 4 Cup car here for testing for cameras, and I definitely was not running the fastest that car can go, but I was less than 10 seconds faster than that 202 lap time. So these Mustangs are definitely moving here through the corners and even making some decent time on the straightaways. And I'm sure a Cup car could go a lot faster. But it's just what I could do. Scott Banks, battle with Daniel McConnell now. McConnell on the inside, giving that spot back up to the Volta Sound number 1. I think this is a good decision for Scotty Banks. Of course, we knew him right away as a Mustang driver. He's clearly showing he can just get out here and road race no matter the circumstance. Battle for third in Mustangs. Down the backstretch, Fench trying to find something here on Fernandez to turn 14. Staggering out of line a little bit, looking for some air, couldn't find it. Ray Lombardi finally getting by Rick Segrini here in the early portion of lap number 9 for these Mazdas. We just got to bounce around. I wish we could more easily do picture-in-picture, because that would do these guys a lot more justice. But here's that picture I was talking about with Rick Segrini. Well, really with Anselmi a lap ago, but you can see Rick Segrini packed right up here to Ray Lombardi. There is not much room around Lombardi's car to see those apexes. Just riding with Rick Segrini through these lower and upper S's. He kind of staggers out there to turn number 10. Trying to find something on your third place driver, Ray Lombardi. Meanwhile, up front in Toyotas, lead change again. Wareham had briefly given the lead back to Dempsey. Dempsey falls back into second. Wareham back in control of this race. And Sudik has packed right back up to these guys. They take some air over the curbing there at turn 17, now through 17A. One more lap complete for them. 4 laps to go for our race leaders, who, by the way, have not moved a muscle. Parrish over Zweyer. I know when Champ Car comes here for the 24, they try to be at 2 minutes or quicker. Parrish out wide at turn 10, but he's going to hang on to the race lead here for a moment. This opens the door, I think, to Zweyer, though. We're about to have one classic battle in Mustangs. Back unpowered down the backstretch inside one of these Mustangs, I think for the first time this evening. Up through the gears for Fabian Zweyer. 4th gear, will he pull 5th? I think so. There's 5th. That's where it becomes overdrive pretty much. Zweyer really pulling some speed here to turn 14. Does he take it or does he leave it? Side by side into turn 14 for the race lead. Less than 4 to go. Zweyer's going to have the inside for 15. Wow. And they're about dead even still. Finally, Kevin Parrish going to power back ahead of the 4-car. And I think that's okay if you're Fabian Zweyer. You've got time. You've got 3 laps to go. Test the waters a little bit. Only 3 more times around this track, but still, that's 3 long laps. Nearly 5 minutes of racing left. There's time to see what you can do as Parrish going to defend into turn number 1. Zweyer around the outside. And no daylight there just yet. Further behind these guys for 3rd and 4th, Fernandez and Fench passing a lapped Mazda. And our Renault lead has become close once again. Austin Knight has fallen back to Larry Love, and these guys are having some fun. Austin burned his stuff up. Meanwhile, Richard Dempsey leading this fight down to roller coaster on lap number 10 of 13. Banks out wide, nearly got the curbing, gets the curbing there. That's 14, now 15. Well, actually, that's 16. Here we go to 17. Where's 18, 19, and 20? Who knows? Scotty Banks on the outside, though, of car number 6. Bring in a couple of extra Toyotas as we head down the front stretch. Look at this fight. Now, they're letting Richard Dempsey get away, but if they can get back single file, they might be able to run that race leader back down. Dempsey getting away for the top spot. Banks, McConnell side by side for 2nd. Wareham looked up the inside for 3rd. Sudik makes contact with him through turn 1 and now goes back out wide, catches the grass, and falls right back to 6th place. Side by side. Oh, contact there. That is for 3rd. McConnell and Wareham. That could have been a lot closer, though, still. Oh, there we go. McConnell into the barrier. First big hit we've seen for anybody in this race. These guys have been oh so clean. Everybody treats this series as some kind of meme. Sure, sometimes it can be. But I tell you what, we have seen really, really clean racing. Some of the best multi-class racing I've seen on iRacing in a very long time. And yes, I'm looking at the GTPs and GTDs, LMP2s, LMP3s. Of the IMSA series, because this is clean. This is really clean stuff. Quickly back down to Mazdas. Your race leader is Gabriel Anselmi once again. Nicholas Rasputo falling back into the 2nd spot. Jordan Ricksagrini on his own in 3rd. Ray Lombardi has exited the chat, and he has fallen back to the 23rd spot overall, 6th in class. Back up to our Mustang race lead and overall race lead. 2 laps to go for these guys. They just began. Lap number 12, and Parrish is starting to get away a little bit. Fabian Zweyer, of course, having to find something here in these last couple of laps. You've burned the tires off pretty decently by now. I mean, these cars could probably go 45 minutes to an hour nicely on these tires, but 25 minutes is still a long time to push in a sprint race format like this. I see Gitsum out here talking about the Mustang and asking why we have the older model of the Mustang. This is the Ford Mustang FR500S that ran Mustang Challenge years ago. I'm thinking like 2007 or so, 2008, 2009, somewhere around there. And it simply has not been updated since. I'm not entirely, and really I'm not at all up to speed with anything Mustang Challenge, but this has just been the Mustang on iRacing for years and years and years, and there have been rumblings about the new Dark Horse maybe hitting the sim, but until we see something credible, it's all just that, rumors and rumblings as we head down into roller coaster for the penultimate time. Daniel McConnell in trouble. He's down to the pit lane, and he had to come in by choice. It looks like maybe a lack of fuel at the end. He took tires as well. Might go out there for that fastest lap here at the end of the race as Wareham and Banks battle for 2nd in class. Austin Knight, Larry Love, still your top 2 in Clios, and here we go. White flag for our Mustangs. Kevin Parrish, the Aerokinetics driver, underneath the flag stand. White flag is out, brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. Parrish with a nice little gap here over Fabian Zweyer, but into the back end of traffic, there was McConnell giving up the lap. And there you see officially 1 lap to go. Quickly back further in this Mustang class, you've got some interesting racing here with Fernandez and Fench. Still pretty close, could still fight. And other Mustangs in the field are going to include guys like Rich Minkler, Franklin D, Cam Porter, and that is it, actually. Your 7 Mustangs have had no problems out front. This brings us right back to Fabian Zweyer. One more time up through the S's and a turn number 10. What can Fabian do, if anything? I think the pass will have to come in roller coaster. That would make most sense to me. Really, you're just taking these couple of corners, not falling back, not making a mistake. You're setting up for this right here. Through Oak Tree, you've got to be absolutely perfect if you're Fabian Zweyer. Get the exit just right, get back to power, and draft by the number 8 by roller coaster. And if Zweyer is able to do anything like that, he just might have this race in hand. Back on board the number 4 car. He's simply not gaining on Parrish. The move would have to come here to 14. He's just not close enough. He's going to have to sit in behind the race leader in roller coaster and probably Hogpen unless he can make a move here. It just isn't going to happen for Zweyer unless Parrish makes a mistake through these last couple of corners. Hogpen, the right-hander. 17A, you're flat out here. There is no passing Kevin Parrish on this final lap at VIR. Kevin Parrish is finally going to go back to victory lane in PCC, at least on the broadcast. Checkered flag for car number 8 at Virginia International Raceway. He won on Friday night, finally went back to victory lane in the Barber Ford Mustang Club. Keeps that momentum rolling into Monday night action and takes the win here in our broadcasted time slot. Austin Knight, Larry Love, they're nose to tail, separated by a little bit. Richard Dempsey is your leader in Toyotas. Daniel Wareham is clear to second. Scott Banks is your first position under contest in Toyotas. He's got Michael Weissman and Nicholas Sudik just a little ways behind. It's a better race right now in your Miatas. Look at Nicholas Rice-Buto and Jordan Rick Segrini nose to tail through turn number 10. Last time around, this behemoth of a racetrack, Rice-Buto out to the dirt that time, entering this oh-so-tricky Oak Tree corner. Contact there, Rick Segrini gives him a shot in the shorts. And that might have done anything but help Rick Segrini. That might have helped Rice-Buto, who's now breaking the draft, trying to find some way to break that and leave Rick Segrini in the dust. This is a big-time IndyCar weave down the backstretch, but it's working. Rice-Buto still has a decent lead up to roller coaster. How much can Rick Segrini close in the gap here in the final couple of corners? Rice-Buto defensive. And, a blink there. Contact from the blink. Rice-Buto out over the grass. And Rick Segrini is going to take it away. Rice-Buto, car number 2, gets upset in the last couple of corners. Falls back now to Bailey Steven. And Jordan Rick Segrini, is he going to hang on to the win that way? I think so. Damaged front bumper and all. Probably doesn't even realize that it was netcode or what have you from the blink. And Rick Segrini wins in Production Car Challenge, immediately pulls off, and Rice-Buto has to take that defeat. A couple more battles around the racetrack. Danny, yes sir, comes across. Here's Ray Lombardi finally getting to the start-finish line. Carlos Rollo, the final machine to cross. Austin Knight hung on to the win in Clios. Richard Dempsey in Toyotas. Well, let's everybody catch our breaths and go back to our race results after it's all said and done. Kevin Parrish with the race win. Car number 8 was as impressive as ever. 12 laps led of just 13 in this very, very short race. Only 25 minutes. For context, in the Barber Ford Mustang Club race on Friday night, at Barber of all places, they ran 45 minutes. So 25 minutes is a pretty quick race, about half the distance. And Fabian Zweyer simply could not beat the 8 car to the start-finish line. David Fernandez, David Fench, 3rd and 4th. Rich Minkler, 5th. You see the rest of the top 10, most notably Austin Knight, Larry Love, Richard Dempsey. Your top 2 Clios and your top Toyota back there, completing the overall top 10 this evening at VIR. Wareham, Banks, Weissman, and Sudik make up the rest of your top 5 in Toyotas. Carpenter and Swenson, 3rd and 4th in Clios. And then your top 4 in your Mazda class, where it all got messy there on the last lap. Rick Segrini and Rice-Buto contact in roller coaster. Rick Segrini blinked out, and suddenly, when we came back, Rice-Buto was sideways. I think you can connect those dots. Bailey Steven there, third in class. Danny Yesser follows up in fourth. And to complete your field of 30 cars, because one did not start, that was Gianni Malfiero. This is the rest of the field. Anselmi, Lombardi, Carpenter, Fiore, a couple of heartbreaks through that field. Daniel McConnell was a big-time factor in that Toyota battle for a long time. Simply fell back, made a mistake through turn 5? Bottom of the S's, thereabouts. So problems for him. Very, very late in the race. He was in that fight for the race, but it's unfortunate that he couldn't hang on. Meanwhile, we've got our resident community rep and Renault Clio winner from VIR this evening, Austin Knight, finally back onto the racetrack, and you come out here with the biggest Renault Clio field that we've seen all season long. And Austin, you dominated there in that battle with Larry Love, but it wasn't all you out front, and it wasn't all Larry out front. It looked like you guys had some pretty good fun.
Yes, we absolutely did. It's great to be back into the car and everything, and it was such a fun race out there. Finally home after a convention, and this is a good way to start off this week with a lot of fun and a fantastic race around VIR.
Yeah, this really has been a really good racetrack, just in one race that we've seen. Definitely optimistic for the rest of the racing here in week number 1. I mean, it's free now. I think that definitely plays into it. Why do you think VIR plays such a cool role in racing? It gives us these cool races like this. I mean, we had battling throughout the entire field. Our top 2 in Mustangs, of course, you and Larry in Clios, the entire Toyota field more or less, and even the top 5 in Mazdas. Everybody was racing.
Everybody was racing. You pretty much said it. This track is perfect for all the cars. The only downside I would say that this track has, it would be the longest pace lap ever. But other than that, everything was just it was just so much fun. It allows a lot of battling, but it's also a very technical track, so you can earn your position and pull away from other cars. So the draft is not the major player. So if you're confident on the brakes and you can pull away from the other cars, you could do that. But also this track is really good for battles as well. With me and Larry, I was pulling away from him. I was sending PBs. He was still right there, but I can still pull away a little bit. He'll catch me up. The MX-5s, I was talking with Ray during the race. They were side by side throughout multiple quarters. He was having a blast, but it was the more stressful kind for him. And the Mustangs, well, it's the Mustangs. They're always having fun.
Really good racing, and as a community rep, this has to feel like a really big home run, even out of the park this week. This is a really, really good track selection. Does this help VIR in future seasons? I know it looks like the schedule's already been submitted for season 1. We'll talk more about that later in the season. But does this kind of cement VIR as a favorite on the road?
Yes.
I like that. Quick answer. I mean, especially with the updates that have been done to this place in the sim, the repave, all of the graphics being updated, the signage around the racetrack, it really is one of the top tier circuits here on iRacing.
It certainly is. It was critically overlooked by a lot of people because, oh, it's VIR. Oh, it's VIR. People just took the name VIR and low participation. They made it free and everything. Next thing you know, the first 2 races of this series, of this week, have been 100 plus and everything. And I'm looking forward to racing throughout the entire week. And I hope a lot of people enjoy tracks like this because we are going to be going to more tracks like this instead of spa-like tracks.
Well, there you go from Austin Knight himself. Austin, congratulations on your win. Not just as a driver, but as a community rep. This is a really cool track selection. Going to be a, like I said, out of the park, I think, all of this week. I might have to get back on the track at some point this week. Who knows? Yeah,
you certainly do.
Well, the problem is I'm not very good in the Mustang. I can't drive the Clio, and I'm just kind of okay in the Mazda.
It's all about having fun.
Well, anyhow, this Austin Knight guy goes to victory lane in Renaults. We'll be talking to you, I'm sure, the rest of this season. Austin, congrats. We'll be talking to you more.
Thank you. Wow, I want to race!
Austin Knight, bunch of fun here. We will get down to our overall race winner, Kevin Parrish, with the win. And Friday night, I mentioned we're going to have to watch for you in this VIR race. Was wondering if that momentum would carry over. It certainly did. But a really cool heads-up battle with you, Kevin, and Fabian there for the second spot. What was that like? And did you think you were going to hang on to that race win?
Yeah, VIR is definitely one of my favorites, so I've been looking forward to this one on the schedule. We had a good battle for sure. I missed a shift there, let him get ahead of me, unfortunately. Able to chase him back down and make him move in the roller coaster.
And it felt like whoever had the draft out of Oak Tree might have the leg up most laps, if not every lap. But you had the lead out of Oak Tree. You had everything to defend there that last lap. Were you surprised he couldn't get to you?
Yeah, it looked like he bobbled that last lap. I was waiting for it, and it didn't quite get there. So I'm happy to say it didn't. But yeah, I was looking for it.
Well, hey, not to rub any dirt in any wounds, but you are nearly 200 points back coming into this race. Is there any kind of conscious championship effort, or is it really just unload and have as much fun as possible every week?
No, I'm definitely trying. Those three in front of me have just been getting the best of me in the high SOF race, the one before this. So it is what it is. We'll keep grinding it out.
Still a pretty decent SOF here in the second split of the week. Hopefully you're able to get up there, gain some points from this one, and hopefully we're talking to you a lot more this season.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Evan Parrish, a couple of race wins recently on Pit Stop TV, doing things the right way, that's for sure. How about our fifth place driver matching his car number? And he's not going to like that very much. Nicholas Sudik down here on the fifth place in Toyotas. Not the result we've come to expect from that bright yellow TWRS car, but Nick, it was a really, really good race. Just about the entire, I think the entire Toyota field involved in it of all 6 cars. You guys were nose to tail, door to door, all race long. What was it like from your point of view?
That was chaos. So in the spirit of the SCCA runoffs on iRacing this week, I highly suggest watching the Spec Miata race from this past runoffs this year at VIR, because it had that feel. It was just non-stop action, jockeying for position, a lot of tactical stuff. I mean, I don't know why my car broke loose twice. First time right after I took the lead out of the last turn, set up a brilliant move, or going into the last sequence of corners, I should say. And yeah, I tapped the brakes and started to slow down. Had like my normal amount of trail braking, and then it just immediately just looped. I saved it, got back up, fought back up. Everybody was doing pretty well. I felt like I was getting forced wide a little bit too often, but then again, I was also making aggressive moves, so I don't know. Hindsight's 2020 on that, but no, it was all clean though. Like, there wasn't. I think there was maybe a 0x. Maybe I got hit when my car cut loose. I was too busy focusing on trying to save it and stay within the draft. So, yeah, Richard, Scott, they're all good. Like, if we can get more splits like this, like 3-4K I rating, that even though it was 6 cars, even if it was a bigger split, it still would have been like a 3,300 I rating split, which is massive for any class, in any D-class series, let alone PCC. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Put it to you this way, I was the only commentator in the booth this evening, and I talked for probably 90% of the time we had any car on screen in this race. You guys were electric, every single class, even the Clios this evening were a lot of fun to watch between Austin Knight and Larry Love. When even the Clios have a good night, we're having a good time here on Pit Stop TV, and particularly in Production Car Challenge. And it seems like everything is on the uptick here in this class. We've seen some rumblings, won't go into detail just yet, but seen some pretty cool rumblings about the 2024 Season 1 schedule. Some cool tracks being added there. It just seems like everything is a good buzz right now, and that even trickles down, of course, to the Toyota class. You guys have a lot of fun, clearly. A really cool car, really cool battles. I mean, does it kind of permeate to the driver level? Does it feel like it's on a big uptick to you guys as well?
Oh, yeah, for sure. A couple seasons ago, like the first week or two, PCC had a lot of high SOFs. Because of the, oh no, there I am sliding out. Oh, but you see what I mean? It's like kicks out, and I don't know why. But anyways, yeah, we the talent is definitely up there. getting some of the other Team Watson racing setups people, even some NASCAR guys, to try the car out is really interesting on the less experienced end. And then, like I said, Scott, Dempsey, who knows? Maybe we can pull out some old retired YouTube folk that I will remain nameless to come back and run some Mustangs, maybe, or even this car again. But yeah, no, it's really exciting. I hope for the future of this car and SimLab, we can kind of have what the Miatas have, and have like an advanced GR Cup, do like 35 or 45 minute races, and then this would be nice for a little short sprint, multi-class, different feel. But all in all, like, a year removed plus from this car, almost, I think, almost a year, I don't know, time's fake. But it's really healthy, and it's actually getting more healthy if you look at the participation as well too, from a consistency standpoint. So yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, I appreciate you guys bringing it every week, like I said before.
Well, Austin, I appreciate all the effort from the driver level. You guys doing a great job over there at TWRS, and clearly you've got some pace. Even if there were a couple of mistakes in this race, you've got all week to get those points and go back after Jorge for the points lead, and still 6 weeks after this week to get back after it. Congrats to you for hanging on to the car as many times as you did, and hopefully we're talking to you more, especially as we go to Silverstone again next week.
Yeah, 190 plus points left on the table. That's rough, but just keep clawing away. You can make that gap back up. So, cheers.
Sure enough, that's Nicholas Sudik from the Toyota class. Really cool guy, has been in the forefront of, I think, every single race as far as Toyotas go this season. Wouldn't have it any other way. Really do enjoy talking to him. There you see the Miatas. No Mazda drivers joining the Discord this evening. I wouldn't be surprised if Rice-Buto and Rick Sigarini didn't even know it was broadcast. But anyways, what a cool night of racing. VIR never, ever, ever, ever disappoints. It's always good, whether it's GT3 cars with North American Racing League, or even Porsche Cup cars with those guys, or now production car challenge machines here this evening. Even way back when we had Operation Motorsport come here, so many cool groups come to VIR and always leave with jaws dropped. It just is one of the best, if not the best, track in American motorsport. A big shout out to our partners there on the left side of the screen making it happen for us this evening: Whiplash, SimCams, ATVO, and CC's Business. Let's take a look at what's upcoming here on the channel. Tomorrow evening, we head out to USA, as mentioned, with the Lucky Motorsport Solutions fellers. Street stocks on track at USA should be a lot of fun, that 3/4 mile racetrack. Then, Wednesday, October 18th, it's out to Charlotte Motor Speedway for the UFL Elite Series. NASCAR Gen 4 Cup cars on track for race number 2 of a 3-race elimination round, setting up for the 4-car championship field at Homestead in just a couple of weeks. It's coming up quick. Then Monday evening, a week from now, we head right back out to Silverstone Circuit for the National Circuit. Again, all 4 of these classes on track. They're going to be a lot of fun. A much shorter track. Hopefully this participation carries into week number 7. That would be pretty lovely for sure. Make sure to follow us on social media across all platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Kick. As we say goodnight this evening from VIR, one more time, let's take a look at our race schedule this season. Silverstone next up. It is out to Willow Springs, Nürburgring on the Nordschleife. I think it's the Industry Farten. I don't know how to say it. Hopefully that's close. But it's not the tourist circuit. Then we head out to Summit Point, Imola, and Orion Park the rest of this season. Once again, a big shout out to those who make it happen for us at Pit Stop TV, left side of the screen right now. Whiplash, SimCams, ATVO, CC's Business, and those who make it happen behind the scenes in audio: ATVO, Whiplash Media, SimCams, OBS, and iRacing.com, helping us get these broadcasts done week in, week out. It was a fun one here at VIR. We'll see you all next time from Silverstone next week, or tomorrow night from USA.
If you're ready to hit the track in the iRacing Ford FR500S Mustang, then sign up for the Barber Ford Mustang Club today. With great prizes from our awesome sponsors, this league is fast, fun, and best of all, free to race in. Take on 6 races of wheel-to-wheel action, all broadcasted live on Pit Stop TV. As a member, you will receive a $500 voucher to Barber Ford, plus entry into a raffle for a brand new Fanatec H-pattern shifter. Every point you earn on the track is 1 entry into the raffle, meaning you can race your way into a brand new Fanatec shifter drawn on December 15th. Battle your competitors at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, Barber Motorsports Park, Brands Hatch, and for the finale, Lime Rock Park. Join the Barber Ford Mustang Club at League ID 3350.